We started off our curriculum taking a look at the hunting-gathering societies and how eventually you have the building of sedentary civilization, these farming villages that eventually, when more organized, formed into city-states, and some of these city-states become so powerful that they become small empires as well. Okay. Not only that, but the world that we're taking a look at, you see the gradual increase of technology. Again, not just simply learning how to do a fire or doing smithing and copper and iron working, but the gradual honing, making the iron stronger, and eventually the development of things like steel and other metals and so forth. So in every phase of technology, it's not just simply new technologies, but they are getting better as well. Not only that, as these civilizations start to grow, they connect with other groups, including groups like previously we've discussed the nomads. We've taken a look at groups like sedentary societies engaging with one another, oftentimes in long distance trade. Not only that, but migration of peoples. If there's climate change, they're moving from place to place and expanding ideas. But one key point is the growth of maritime travel, right? This is going to be one key piece of human advancement, travel by sea and by ocean, whereby you can more effectively move from point A to point B, and also that move cargo as well. So this is going to be essential. So know what the term maritime actually means. But in all cases, we start to see the merger of ideas as we move beyond just simply the people groups of families to many dozens of different groups and peoples as well. And what that generates for us, therefore, is going to be the growth of universal religions, and we talked about the various axial age religions as well. So that's part of the context of understanding the birth of some of these empires. Eventually, in this unit, what we want to take a look at is the creation of very powerful states, and particularly, and there's a lot we can select from, but we're going to take a look at in the Mediterranean world, the rise of Rome, and in East Asia, the rise of the Chinese Empire as well. And so where does this fit in terms of our study here? So we took a look at in the last unit here the rise of early human societies. And we're starting to engage in the very period of study where we're going to see in the AP World History Modern exam, the end period of about 1200. But we're going to look at this particular time period right here. And particularly our theme of this unit is the rise of state building, how empires are formed, sustained, and in some ways how they fall as well in the pre-modern period. So again, the time period is a little bit of before the AP Modern history curriculum, and then a little bit of that as well. Associated with this is also the rise of various networks of exchange as well, and that's our next unit. But at least for today, we're going to be focusing on this birth of powerful states in China and in Rome as well. But before we get to do so, there's a few qualities and characteristics of empire that we have to take a look at. One of which is that it's geographically large. And the ones we're looking at in this unit are much bigger than the ones that we studied in the previous unit. For instance, the Middle Kingdom of Egypt, the Neo-Babylonian Empire, maxed out at about 500,000 square miles. Now, with the Han Dynasty and the Roman Empire, we're looking at about 4.5 million. So they're geographically large. Not only that, but empires are big, and we want, and many of them have, in this case, situations where there's dozens of different people groups. This here is the Roman Empire, focusing just simply in the eastern part of the empire. And what we see is that there are numbers of different people groups that exist in just this various regions. So many different ethnic identities, languages, and so forth. So empires tend to be diverse and heterogeneous as well. And part of the need for empires is to be able to take all these different people groups and bring them together as a single unit. And for all of them, there's a particular social and unique social and economic dimension to the goods that they produce, the type of interdependence that might exist within the empire. That's all part of the process of bringing it all together. And as As a result of this, there is a need to bring all of this together as they expand and get all sorts of different groups. If they're going to consolidate, it's going to require that they generate a number of things, and that includes, one, the use of technology to make this happen. Roads just simply aren't roads. They require real planning, technologies and discoveries to be able to make sure that it lasts and it can be sustained over time. You need administrators, government officials who will do the bidding of the king or the emperor and do it effectively, efficiently, without much waste or corruption. Thirdly, you need military innovation. This doesn't look like it here. This is actually a ancient Chinese crossbow, but you need to be able to fight. You need to be able to defend the vast spaces that you have conquered. And most importantly, you need to convince the populace that you are legitimate rulers of your realm, that you have the right to rule over them. They buy into the things that you want them to do, whether it's because you're going to have to tax them, you're going to have to ask them for service in one sense or another. So therefore, you need to convince them that you're able to rule, that they grow up with this institutionalized sense that you are the ruler. So all this is required to build these massive empires. So what you're going to start off with is to take a look at a key document known as the Mandate of Heaven. Spend about 12 minutes evaluating this document using the SOAPs analysis. If you're in class, you'll have a chance to be able to review that. If not, do the best you possibly can. Again, general amount of time you want to spend here is about 12 minutes. So go ahead and make sure you go and take a look at the SOAPs analysis. So take 12 minutes to do that. Okay, if you've completed the SOAPs analysis, we're going to go ahead and move on with some of the other background that's necessary before we tackle the various empires of this region and time. The first of which is there's a explanation of time. First of all, the time period that we're looking, how we define time. Again, many different civilizations will use different measures. When year one is, whether in certain identities you use when they believe time created or when a certain prophet came to this city. We have a Western Eurocentric calendar. So we use the terms before Christ, that will signify before the birth of Christ, and we also have Anno Domini, AD, which stands for the year of our Lord, both of which are distinctly Western and particularly Christian. And so in our more secular postmodern age, we use the terms Common Era to signify the year that we're in, and then before Common Era. But again, we're looking at the same dates. So if they get interchanged, just accept it as it is. But the most modern studies will use the term BCE and CE as well. Thirdly, something to keep in mind as we look at these empires is that the struggle to become kings, or the ability to become kings, isn't necessarily about getting the peasants and getting the peasants to buy into what you're doing, the commoners. No, instead, it's a fight between centralized rulers and the landed nobility, the aristocrats, those who have power over smaller realms that oftentimes are far off from the capital city. And it's the struggle for centralized rulers, for emperors, to get these landed aristocrats or nobles on their side. And oftentimes emperors will make use of groups like the middle class, traditions or institutions, or religious authorities to actually make that happen. So this is a key part of the background that you will need to understand. And most of all, in this unit, we want to be able to answer this question right here. This is the essay question to come, both for our practice essay and also for the unit exam as well. In this time period, there are different factors that led to the rise of empires. You're going to develop an argument or multiple arguments that evaluates the process of imperial consolidation and or expansion. Much more on this later on, but note that this is a question that you're answering in the lectures to come, and also the homework assignments, the evidence cards, the preset chart, and so forth. So please go ahead and make sure you review this prompt before proceeding.